The driver's words just now seemed to remind him of something, and seeing that the car was about to leave, Zhao Wanbing shouted. "Hey, wait." The driver stuck his head out of the window, saw that it was a Taoist priest, and asked angrily, "What's the matter?" Zhao Wanbing was not annoyed, and asked with a smile. "Oh, you said that you were 10 minutes late for the last time you went to Gaojiazwang, and you drove the wrong way. Dare to ask, where did you drive?" The driver took a puff on his cigarette. "Shake your hand." "Where did it go?" "You villages don't have a road signpost either. Last time, I drove to your king's village. It wasn't until the Wangzhuang village committee realized that it was wrong. You rednecks here are just lazy. I can't do a few road signs." After that, the throttle started. Look at the hearse in the distance. Zhao Wanbing seemed to have discovered something. Pull in the old man to rush home. Cleaned up briefly. Let Wang Xing drive the tractor. Send them to the station. Bought a ticket. I went to the provincial capital. Arrived in the provincial capital. It was already noon. The two found a noodle restaurant. I asked for a bowl of somen noodles. "Sit down." He Lao was puzzled. "Why did you suddenly run back?" Zhao Wanbing said. "He Lao, there are acquaintances in the provincial hall traffic. This one does. Director Zhao of the car hall. It's a child's friend. What needs to be done?" Zhao Wanbing nodded and said, "I need a vehicle file. In the afternoon, I want to visit Director Zhao. You arrange it. May I?" He Lao knew that Zhao Wanbing had always been cautious in doing things. Nodding. After eating, the two took a car and went straight to the DMV. Arrived at the DMV, He Lao successfully found Director Zhao. After some pleasantries, Zhao Wanbing was introduced. "What about Director Zhao? He is also a bold person. Just ask Zhao Wanbing. I want to check which car." Zhao Wanbing said, "A large passenger with a provincial license plate." "The license is..." Director Zhao turned on the system. "Enter the license plate to check." Asked with a frown, "You're looking for this car. Can I help you?" "This car used to be 3 years ago. There was a serious car accident that killed 7 people. It has been forcibly scrapped." "Scrapped?" "Yes, scrapped." Zhao Wanbing nodded. Asked again. Director Zhao, according to regulations, what to do with this kind of scrapped vehicle? Director Zhao took a sip of tea. I looked at it and drank it. Stared at Zhao Wanbing again. "General end-of-life vehicles. All are pulled to the dismantling plant. Disassemble it. Some people are not excluded. Put the car in good condition. After repair, dispose of it at a low price." "How?" "You see the cart? Not bad. I saw this car. Now it hangs under the banner of a funeral home in Anshan County. Are you planning to report it?" "If it is hung in a funeral home, I'm afraid it's not that easy to deal with. To know. They are under the administration of the civil administration. Most of them are related households." Zhao Wanbing said, "I'm not here to report it. Just looking at that car is a bit of a problem. So come and ask." "It's okay. Thank you, Director Zhao. You're busy." We went out first. After speaking, he motioned to He Lao to go out. He Lao got up to say goodbye. Then Director Zhao asked He Lao to stay and eat at night. After another prevarication, He Lao looked at Zhao Wanbing, asked him for his opinion. Director Zhao took a look. This highly respected He Lao actually respected this young man so much. Asked He Lao in a low voice, "Say, I'm afraid this young man is not simple." He Lao said with a smile, "He's a man of God. We're going back to the countryside in the afternoon." After speaking, he said goodbye to Zhao Wanbing. "What about Director Zhao? Also a good thing. I heard that he was a man of God. I just want to know how many gods there are." I picked up the bag on the table and went out. The two of them walked slowly. Since it's related to buses, I'm afraid it's a lot more convenient for me to take the two of you to do errands. He is old and high. I think I'd better send you two back. Zonbin glanced at Director Zhao. He nodded his head in agreement. Director Zhao was as happy as a child. Immediately married Santana from the team, pulled the two of them, and rushed to Wangzhuang. The trio were on their way back. Director Zhao learned Zhao Wenbin is a Taoist priest, and he went all the way. Ask about metaphysics. I don't know if I'm too tired to travel. Still too lazy to answer. Zhao Wenbin simply fell asleep. He Lao is still relatively fresh. I told Director Zhao about it. What he saw. Director Zhao listened very excitedly. I feel like I'm on this trip. It's the right run. It's also good to see how the Taoist priest catches ghosts. Go back and brag to your colleagues. After arriving at Wangzhuang, Zonbin went to Zhang Leiahan's house first. In the morning, the ashes have been brought back. Now it's being offered in front of the church. Speaking of which, this one. Director Zhao is also meeting for the first time. There was a scarecrow lying in the coffin. A crowd of people gathered around the scarecrow and wept there. It's not funny. It's kind of weird. The people saw that Zavin had returned. Asked him what to do next. Zhao Wenbin asked Zhang Laohan to gently pick up the urn. Put it in a coffin. I'm ready for tonight's trial. Give the scarecrow a temper. Director Zhao, who came with him, was surprised. Zonbing's great refining. It's all about treating the scarecrow as a real person. Zhao Li walked away from Xianxiao. Here's a little story. How much weight does a scarecrow have? I think everyone knows that. Although Zhang Laohan is 60 years old. But it's not like you can't even carry a scarecrow. Actually, when he was carrying a scarecrow, it's a tired man. A few times, a group of soldiers stopped to rest for a while, seeing that everyone was also in a cold sweat. Could it be that this old lady is really in charge of the scarecrow? The second half of the night, which has been busy, Zhao Wenbin will go to rest. Director Zhao was so excited that he didn't sleep all night. After all, this was the first time he had seen such a thing. Knew that Zhao Wenbin would not answer. Just pestered He Lao and kept asking, until He Leiahan's voice sounded. He fell asleep helplessly. Early the next morning, Zhang Laohan and his party carry a large coffin containing a scarecrow and an urn to be buried. Only this time, under the coffin, it was a little different from usual. This coffin is not laid flat. Instead, it stood straight in the dirt. It is also the first time that many people have seen this way of getting into the ground, especially Director Zhao. As soon as he went back, he pestered Zonbing to explain. Zhao Wenbin wanted to rest for a while. I was so annoyed that I couldn't help it. I could only say a little to him. After the death of this ordinary person, the flesh slowly decays, even if only one skeleton remains. What about this spirit? I can also understand. This is your own body. Because it's your own body, after all. But this scarecrow is different. After all, it's an alternative. Can it be attached forever? I do not fall off. It's hard for anyone to say. In order to prevent it from becoming a lonely ghost, it can only be buried vertically. It's like trapping the old lady inside. Everyone knows a cruel word. Go in vertically and come out horizontally. Ordinary people have to be put sideways when they die. Standing upright means that the Lord has big breasts. This is buried vertically in Maoshan and is called dragonfly water. It was originally used in a good feng shui place. It is suitable for the burial of traitors and officials. In case of trouble, the offspring is as light as a dragonfly touching water. Future generations will inevitably lay off Guangjing. The official luck is crossed. There can be no danger in death. Fall on one's feet, and it is required that there is a water vein under the acupuncture point. It is a type of treasure cave. It is very hard to find. This is called the Yang of the Yin. Some are in front of the grave. 3 stones are used as a symbol. Some are on the top of the grave, in a rectangular stone. The top of the grave is 1 foot out. The deceased was male. It is planted on the left side of the top of the tomb. If it is a woman, then it is planted on the right side. Some hold a pot of mulled wine. Place it on top of the grave. The mouth is still covered with stones. It is called Wanyan Lake. Actually, the feng shui of this place. Also SOSO, but Zavenbing. Why use this? Complex burial methods. Naturally, there is a reason for it. In ancient times there were the head to the sky and the foot occupy the land for the funeral ceremony. That is, the tree burial of the tree. And there were feet toward the cemetery. The doji at the top of the hillside. Whether it is a tree burial or a road burial, it's all about letting the undead ascend to heaven. The old lady was attached to the straw. In order not to let her find out, his own body has been destroyed. The best way to do it, or let him enter the reincarnation as soon as possible. That's why I used this method. Director Zhao was fascinated by this. I can't wait to kneel down and worship the teacher. Lunch. 3 people drive. Drive directly to the county funeral home. There's someone up there. It's easy to do. Although Director Zhao, he's just the head of a DMV. But after all, it's from the provincial town. The funeral director is surnamed Kim. He's a big beard. A profiteer's look. I heard that someone from the province came to check the car. It's also very polite. Invited 3 people into the office. Good tea. Director Zhao is used to being majestic on weekdays. You're welcome either. A sip of tea explains what you mean. Said he was looking for the hearse. Curator Kim. The car, as far as I know, was originally a scrapped car. Why did you get to Anshin County and sit in the hearse? Curator Jean snorted and smoked again. Zaven shook his hand and signaled not to draw. I gave Director Zhao another message. Director Zhao, you don't know. Our county is financially weak and can't afford to buy a new car. This funeral parlor is also a livelihood industry. Leaders at the civil administration level thought about it. I asked someone to find us an old car from the provincial capital. How? There's something wrong with this car. Director Zhao took a puff of his cigarette, crossed Erlang's legs, glanced at Zhang Wenbin, spit out a smoke ring, said with a smile. This car. There was a car accident a few years ago. Quite a few people died. As specified, it was pulled to scrap. Now this gold tube is chief. Pull people to death with such a car. I'm afraid it couldn't be more suitable. That's it. It's about yin and yang. Curator Kim. It's just that this scrapped car is on the road. As specified, it is to be pulled back for forced scrapping. You'll have to pay a penalty. Who is Curator Kim? Doing the business of the dead. Naturally, it is to talk to people. Talking nonsense to the devil. I thought to myself, this must be a lot of money. This is for a new car. At least 200,000 yuan. I have a little 99 in my heart. Said to Director Zhao. Director Zhao, you are the leader of the province. So be it. In the afternoon I do the east. Arrange for everyone to have a light meal. We are all family. What is negotiable? Director Zhao hadn't spoken yet. Zha Wenbin snorted coldly. Curator Jin's car really can't be replaced. As long as you don't change, I'm afraid business will continue to be good. Curator Kim had been keeping an eye on this person before, but I can't guess the identity, so it's not easy to ask. This time I saw him speak. Naturally, he also answered, "Brothers, how can I say that?" Zha Wenbin said leisurely. 7 lives were lost in this car. It's fierce. These evil things should have been destroyed. Stay in this funeral home. In energy breeds. I'm afraid it's already a refinement. This car can also be refined. Hugh, don't be kidding. Curator Jean replied. Zha Wenbin stood up. I went around Curator Jean in a circle. although you carry a lot of amulets from all over the mountains and rivers, but it can't stop the sinister aura of this place. I've seen feng shui in funeral homes, built according to the yin and yang bagua. It should be from the hands of a master. Originally, it was able to neutralize the evil energy here. I don't want the river above you. Because of the construction of roads, the flow was cut off. Wet yang. I look at the Kim curator Mei Yu between. There is a hint of a black line. These days, I'm afraid that curator Jian won't sleep very comfortably. Let's talk about this relict museum. It was curator Kim who spent a lot of money, contracted from the Civil Affairs Bureau, exclusive to the county. That fanny pack. Naturally, it is well earned. But this dead man's business, it's not something that ordinary brave people can do. Earn dead man's money. It's a time when everyone has a weak heart. Naturally, it is inevitable to ask for a god. But I was really hit by the weirdo in front of me. Curator Jean has been having a dream these days. He was often told in dreams. Tell him to go for a drink with him. But I couldn't see the man's face clearly. Was said by Zhao Wenbin. Curator Kim's forehead was already at the beginning of a cold sweat. No wonder I've been feeling so tired lately. This man can see the feng shui here. Could it be that he is a master? Thinking about it, Curator Jean stood up. I talked about the dream I had. Zhao Wenbin calculated slightly. Curator Kim. The feng shui pattern of this place. It would have been suitable for a funeral home. Divert the water in the city into a water dragon. It was a clever move. I don't want to be ruined. I want to break through this evil. Only the dragon and phoenix are angry. Curator Jean has now completely taken Zhao Wenbin. It was a lifesaver. So he hurriedly stepped forward and said with his fists clenched, "Please, sir, teach yourself." Zhao Wenbin said with a smile. Isn't it difficult? I'm afraid that Curator Jean will have another career in the future. What profession? Farmer. Please also, sir, please make it clear. Zhao Wenbin nodded. A crowd stared at him curiously. Zhao Wenbin took a step. Pointing to a small hill in front of the office, he said, "What that piece of land is for?" Curator Jean looked in the direction he was pointing. "Sir, you have a good eyesight. That piece of land is said to be a treasure school. I was going to make a cemetery." Zhao Wenbin shook his head and said, "If you use that land as a cemetery, you'll be able to do so, according to the current Feng Shui Bureau. I'm afraid that the May Games will come faster. If you build a cemetery, both inside and outside are the work of the Yin. What about this place for you? I'm afraid it's not as simple as being haunted. At the very least, they will lose their lives. At worst, the whole family died." It's a dead word. What Zhao Wenbin said was particularly heavy. Curator Kim pounced. "Kneel down for Zhao Wenbin. Please, sir, for help." Zhao Wenbin helped Curator Jean. Motioned for him to sit down. Curator Kim was supposed to make dead man's money. The heart is very sensitive. Listen to this again. At this time, I'm already scared that my legs are like a sifting pit. Zhao Wenbin continued. The land was flat. It's called Lefengpo. If Curator Kim finds some people, plant some sycamore trees in that area, can attract phoenixes. With the breath of a phoenix, suppress your evil spirits, is more than enough. Now I don't know if phoenix can come. Put some roosters in first. Remember, these roosters will die even in the future. It cannot be used either. It can only be buried alive. Curator Jean is like a chicken jwami at the moment. Remembers Zhao Wenbin well. I can't wait to find someone to do it right away. This is simply a living immortal. Thank you, sir, for saving your life. Mr. Thanksgiving. Director Zhao on the side. I was very impressed just now. He looked down on this outburst in his heart. Black laughed. Who is he? His name is Zhao Wenbin. He is the head of the Jingtian Dao, holder of the Maoshan ancestral seal. You've met a living immortal. Zanbin glared at Director Zhao. Director Zhao turned his face. Shut up. Curator Jean heard that he was in charge. He knelt down again. There was a 3 defeat, 9 out. Zanbin couldn't stop it. I could only look at Director Zhao, who was in a small town over there, shaking his head and sighing. In the evening, Curator Jean took the 3 of them. I have to go to the county for a meal. Zanbing said that he is a vegetarian. Curator Jean specially found a vegetarian fast. Arranged for everyone to be seated. Tea instead of wine. Everyone took turns to salute Zavenbing. Ate half of it. Director Kim took the initiative to ask about the car. Sir, there really is a ghost in that car. Zavenbing nodded. It's better not to drive the car. Sooner or later, something big will happen. I've just finished talking here. Curator Kim's big brother rang. Signal to answer the phone. He went outside the door and left 3 people eating. After a while, Director Jean rushed up and shouted. Sir, it's not good. It's not good. Something happened. Director Zhao stood up. Something happened. Something happened to the car. I was stopped by Mr. Something really happened to that car. Zhao Wenbin's heart tightened. Hold your horses. You speak slowly. A manager called to report that the car crashed. Quite a few people died. I don't know the specifics. You want me to rush over? Zhao Wenbin stood up and picked up his clothes. So what are you waiting for? Let's go together. The group settled the accounts. Hurriedly got into the car. Lead the way by Curator Kim. After a while, he left the county seat. After 7 turns and 8 turns, arrived at a fork in the road. There are already traffic police at the scene. Ambulances are carrying the wounded. The traffic police saw that it was the vehicle of the Vehicle Management Office. I also came over to say hello. I heard that Director Kim is the person in charge of the vehicle. The person was detained on the spot. Director Kim said, I am the director of the county funeral home. How can you detain me? Said the traffic police. Major traffic accidents. 4 deaths have been confirmed. Curator Kim, I'm afraid I'm going to go to the bureau to make a record. Zhao Wenbing listened. 4 people died. Go up and ask what's going on. The traffic police took a look. Inconvenient to answer. At this time, Director Zhao came up. I pulled out my papers. I'm from the DMV. He is also a friend of Curator Kim. Miss Comrade, tell me more about it. What's the matter? One heard that it was the provincial leader. The traffic police have also changed their tone. Yes. According to the driver's recollections. Preliminary judgment. This passenger car is going to be driven to the repair shop for maintenance. Empty cars are at this plug opening. On the left, a farmer's tricycle drove by. There were 4 people on the tricycle, all dead. According to the documents, the 4 people who died were a family. We are now notifying the family. It's bad luck, too. The family of 4 is all gone. Zanbin also felt uncomfortable when he heard it. Just asked one more question. Do you know where this family is from? What about Wang Zhuang? The village chief is on his way. Hearing the word Wang Zhuang, plopped down. Zhao Wenbin sat directly on the ground. Wang Zhuang is still Wang Zhuang. Mr. Wang and his old wife, the old lady of the Zhang family, plus this family of 4. It's just a deception. He was still trying to find the car. Prepare to think of a solution. Why just in time to find it? Something happened. For the first time, Zhao Wenbin developed a fear of the Tao. Even if you have some ability, fight with the sky. Can I get through it? This Taoist priest does not only do things for people. Look beyond feng shui. What else can you do? The daughter is gone. Wang Zhuang has 7 lives. I was so powerless. I know what the problem is. It's just helpless. Don't. Is it really predestined? Can't you change it? He fell into a deep sense of frustration. Soon, the village chief also came with a tractor. I saw that He Lao and Zawanbing were there. I didn't bother to say hello. Glancing at the tragic situation of the car accident, just shake your head. I explained it to the traffic police. There was only one child left in the family. The village will be responsible for the rest. The driver was also a little injured. I was taken to the hospital by ambulance. Curator Jean followed the traffic police back to make a record. The village chief made an appointment to go to the village the next day to talk about the future. Director Zhao took Wen Bin and He Lao to wave Wang Zhuang. Along the way, the three were silent. Director Zhao also lost the excitement he had when he first came. He is also a man who is used to seeing car accidents. This is the first time that it has been so tragic as today. There were 4 people on the tricycle. A man and a woman, an old man and a little girl. The little girl was no longer visible under the wheels. The woman was crushed underneath the tricycle. A car squat just stuck in the neck. There was almost a bit of skin left attached. The old man was lying next to his granddaughter. One thigh has detached from the body. The blood is like killing a pig. It's all red. Early the next morning, the whole Wang Zhuang exploded. The family that died was also surnamed Wang. The man's name is Wang Weigua. The family went to his wife's house for dinner. My daughter is only 6 years old this year. There is also an 8-year-old son. Didn't go. Everyone gathered in the courtyard of Wang Weigua. The body is still in the funeral home. But what about this side of the matter? Can't be done without one. In this village, 8 out of 10 households are relatives. There was a small meeting. Recommend the village chief to represent the Wang family, to deal with the aftermath. Director Zhao sold his favor. Offered to go. Take He Lao and Zawanbing. A group of 4 people. Go straight to the county seat. Curator Kim is also a supernatural figure. I made a note last night and went home. Until the next day to deal with the accident. I went to the traffic police team early and waited. Just a few people met again. Go inside and have a look. The driver was caught in the bureau from the hospital last night. Someone has to come out and bear the burden when something happens. Director Jean called many county leaders to come over. The village chief took a look. Boy, these big shots are rare to see once a year. It's all here today. What's the matter? Let's hear it first. Arrived at the conference room. The captain of the traffic police presided over the meeting. The county leader spoke of a major accident. The above is also very important. Come and sit in on it. Actually, everyone knows that. This is to support Curator Kim, plus a Director Zhao. It almost became a leader's tea party. No matter how young the village chief is, he is also a Sesame official. See a large piece of leadership. I didn't dare to speak. What does the traffic police mean? It is a compensation of 50,000 yuan according to a human life. The money came from the county hospital. The market returns to the sick home to make a meal. The driver was detained for 15 days. Ask for everyone's opinions. Naturally, the village chief didn't dare to speak first. The captain of the traffic police asked the chief of the gold controller again. The chief of gold naturally said, everything is subject to the mediation of the traffic police. The captain sees that everyone has no opinion. Let's just say that's it. At noon, everyone had a meal together. I signed the handling opinion. That's the end of it. At that time, 50,000 yuan was not a small amount. For rural people, that's already an astronomical amount. But when everyone thought it was over, one person didn't say yes. Zhao Wenbin spoke. 50,000 yuan for one life. There is also an 8-year-old doll. Both parents died. How will I live in the future? The captain of the traffic police saw that this was a fresh face. I thought it was a representative of the village. Homosexuals. You talk about what you think. Zhang Wenbin said to Director Jean. 150,000 yuan for one life. All the expenses of raising this little doll until the age of 18. It is the responsibility of the funeral home. The funeral home is responsible for the aftermath of the 4 people. Curator Kim said yes or no. 150,000. The conference room was lively. It was back in those days. 10,000 households are already remarkable. The county's fiscal revenue is only a few million a year. As soon as this guy opened his mouth, it was 150,000 lives. That's 600,000 in total. Alimony is also required. Before Curator Jean could speak, one of the leaders in charge of civil affairs did not agree. Comrade, you're asking too much for that. The traffic police force also acts in accordance with state regulations. Zhao Wenbin didn't hear it at all, stared at Curator Jean and asked again. Promise or not? Curator Kim's forehead. It's already a steep bead of sweat. This gentleman was having dinner together yesterday. Why did you turn your face today? 600,000. The funeral home doesn't make that much money in a year. Looked at Zhao Wenbin's eyes staring at him. An inexplicable fear came over us. After all, it's about making dead people's money. Curator Jean is still feeling empty, especially after yesterday's pivot point. Curator Jean gritted his teeth. Yes, just do as the gentleman says. The scene was in an uproar again. The traffic police captain dealt with so many accidents. I have never encountered such a large amount of compensation. Asked again. Curator Kim, do as he says. Curator Jean nodded. That's it. After hearing this, Zhao Wenbin stood up and was about to go out. Director Zhao and He Lao stood up and went out with them, leaving a group of big eyes and small eyes. A bureau chief asked Curator Kim, what is the origin of that old Kim? Curator Jean wiped the sweat from his forehead. It's a god. After saying that, he also went out. I saw that Director Zhao was starting the car. The chief of the gold management stopped him. Hand a red envelope to Zhao Wenbin. Please also ask the gentleman to go back and give the priest the zaba. Extraordinary. Zhao Wenbin waved his hand. I'll do the rituals. Take good care of that child in the future. You go to Wangzhuang at night. Let's go first. After speaking, Director Zhao drove the car. Leave the village chief and the chief of the gold management there to discuss the details. They went back to the village first. Arrived at Wang Xing's house. Director Zhao said, Zha Taoist. Today I really admire you for daring to speak. Zhao Wenbin said as he entered the room. Just do what you can do. Director Zhao wanted to say something more. Was held down by He Lao on the shoulder. Shake her head. Signal don't ask. Director Zhao looked at Zhao Wenbin's tall figure, thoughtfully. That afternoon, Zhao Wenbin slept in bed. Director Zhao became bored. I had to play chess in the yard. While inquiring about Zhao Wenbin with He Lao. He Lao said that Zhao Wenbin's setback this time was very serious. It's better not to disturb him. Director Zhao still didn't stop. Chased and asked why Zhao Wenbin. He'll be able to figure out what's going to happen with the car. He Lao said that if he knew. Isn't that also a god myself? Director Zhao's admiration in his heart. An idea came to my head. I resigned from public office because I wanted to follow Zhao Wenbin to learn Taoism. It was past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sound of firecrackers in the village. Zhao Wenbin, who woke up and was sleeping, go out and have a look. It turned out that the hearse had returned. He changed his clothes. He Lao and Director Zhao rushed over. A lot of people have gathered at the entrance of the village. The family died so miserably. The 8-year-old doll was lying on its stomach on a corpse covered with a white cloth. Wail. This cry shook everyone's hearts. Many people in the village also cried. Slowly, everyone cried together. The whole village was plunged into great sorrow. Many people can't accept this fact in their hearts. It's just 100 villages. 7 people died in a row this month. Who knows who will be the next dead egg? Curator Jean came with the traffic police team and the village chief. The crowd helped carry the body into the courtyard. The removed door panel was placed on a large bench. The 4 corpses filled the already small hall to the brim. The trucks that followed were wreaths delivered from the county. The 4 coffins were also carried to the courtyard. Everyone knows that there is a Taoist priest in the village. Whatever you do, you can point to him. The head of the traffic police asked the village chief to summon the villagers. It was in that yard that the results of the disposition were announced. 600,000 payouts. Where's the money? For the time being, it will be placed on the village account. Wait until the child is 18 years old before giving it to him. The guardian consists of the village council and several relatives of the child. Co-composition. Before the age of 18, anyone who wants to touch the money, it needs to be approved by the will of these people. Child support and tuition fees are borne by Director Kim. After the announcement, the captain of the traffic police bowed to the 4 lying people first, glanced at Zhao Wenbin in the crowd and went back. Curator Kim wanted to go along, was stopped by Zhao Wenbin. You can't go. Stay at night. Look at the row of corpses in the room. Although Director Jean is not surprised, he is not surprised. But what about today? His legs went limp. Heard Zhao Wenbin's words. I can only stay with my head. The 8-year-old Wang family doll. Already crying into tears. Know the fat man in front of you with gold-rimmed glasses. It's the one who harmed his father's mother. Went up and took a bite of Curator Jean. It hurt so much that he screamed. The crowd couldn't pull it down. After losing a piece of flesh, the boy relented. Curator Jean is not leaving. Neither is the stream. The whole village looked at him. There wasn't a single one who didn't want to beat him. Looked at Zhao Wenbin's cold eyes. He still didn't dare to take a step out of the yard. After a simple bandage, he took a stool and sat in the courtyard. Zhao Wenbin didn't care about him, thinking about going in and practicing. Lift it open and don't take a look. It's all flesh and blood. How do you start this? No one dared to do it. Invited a few relatives to discuss. Never mind. Go straight into the coffin. Young people from several villages. He carried the body out again. What about the coffin? It's just an ordinary finger coffin. I found a few daring people. I didn't even take off the cloth head. I just put it in. In the blink of an eye, there were 4 coffins side by side in the Tang house. Zavenbing was preparing to set up a desk. Hear the sound of ticking and ticking. Someone suddenly screamed. Blood. Look down. It turned out that due to the fact that the coffin was ordinary, blood had seeped out of the coffin. Soon the ground was already red. The smell of blood permeated the entire courtyard. Quite a few people have started to vomit. Zhao Wenbin frowned. Such a tragic death must be a soul. Look at the blood of this place. It's not good for everyone to go. Neither does the stream. Zonbin beckoned the village chief to come over. Let him go to the village to collect some film that has not yet been used up to buckle the greenhouse. He also beckoned the relatives of the Wang family to buy more yellow paper. It didn't take long for a few things to arrive. Zavenbing spread the membrane on the ground. The people who carried the corpses just now were called over again. Have them wear gloves and place the body in the coffin on the membrane. Those guys were surrounded and didn't dare to move. The blood was almost all stained red. When it was first sent, it's a frozen corpse. It's all thawed now. You can imagine it. Zavenbing also has no way. I consulted with a few relatives. Wait a minute. Each person gives $500, but no one dared to move. At this time, the doll that cries all the time. At once, he knelt down for the people. There were a few knocks. Each one hit the ground hard. Let's take a look. Come on. I can only do it for the sensible doll. The corpses were brought out again with all hands and feet. Look down. The coffin was already blood-red. Zhao Wenbin shook his head. A thick layer of yellow paper was laid in the coffin. Another layer was placed on the surface of the corpse. The beckoner tied up the plastic film. Tightly wrapped. Re-enter the country. Actually, after the person dies, if you enter the coffin, you can't come out again. Otherwise, it's a soul disturbance. These are the ones who did it tonight. Something bad will happen to you. Right now, Zhao Wenbin is looking at this mess. I can't care about that much. Let's do it first. When the time comes, I'll clean up one by one. Go to bad luck. Someone mopped the floor again. It's already dark after cleaning up. The cook outside brought in the first meal and chicken and duck offerings. Zhao Wenbin looked at it. The first stick of incense was given to the doll first. The boy knelt down before the forest and did not get up. Zhao Wenbin hugged him. Plug in the incense. Signal the adult to take the child away. After clicking, Zhao Wenbin motioned for everyone to go to dinner first. It's been a busy day. I still have work to do at night. Fortunately, there are one death after another. Pans, tables, chairs, and benches are all very good. An open-air platform was erected outside. Firecrackers were set off. The meal was served. What about Curator Kim? It's also choked enough to be tossed. Zhao Wenbin motioned to him. Sit with yourself. Next to Director Zhao and He Lao. Tremblingly, he took a few bites. Just stop. Today's meal. Everyone's food is quite depressing. No one drank either. Quiet except for the sound of dishes and chopsticks. Nothing else. Lifeless. With the confused smell of incense and blood in the yard. It does make people lose their appetite. Each person picked up a few bites and cleaned them up. After eating, everyone was waiting to see the priest. Zhao Wenbin pinched the paper and calculated. A few rats were reported. Tell them to hurry home with the elderly and children. Turn off the lights at night and go to bed. The door is closed. Others can stay. You can also go home. A group of people walked sparsely. A few of the more timid ones also left. Zhang Laohan can't wait. Boast to the person next to you. Mom's thing that night. Director Zhao was stunned when he heard it. I can't wait to squeeze my neck to the front. What about those who stay? Many of them have seen the first two rituals. Naturally, I knew that tonight would be an extraordinary night. Expect something to happen. For those who are dying, Zhao Wenbin naturally understands that this is a big murderer. According to the information he obtained, it was 7 people who died this month. There is no guarantee that there will be no more deaths next month. The most vicious thing we scold on weekdays. It's just that sentence that the whole family is dead. This time, only the 8-year-old doll remained. It's a desperate household. If it is overtaken today, it will not be possible. In the future, there will be a big disaster in Wangguang. Those who die in vain are not in the power of samsara. You can only wait until young Shoujing can enter the room. This time of waiting for reincarnation, inevitably, he will become a wild ghost. Ghosts have no consciousness. In general, the main body of the soul comes out. It is owned in a short period of time. Over time, memory will be lost. There are attachments in life. After death, I may remember that little bit of thought. This kind of thought. It also has to be a great stimulus. For example, this kind of family car accident. The deceased is likely to let go of their grief and anger. Eventually, he turned into a fierce spirit. That is, the chance of evil spirits is quite high. It is difficult to guarantee that it will not harm Sealing in the future. Zhao Wenbin knew that it was powerful. If the hell is just getting started, if the grudge is not strong, he will be killed. It's much easier. But the family didn't fight. He is also dedicated to goodness, rushing to the idea of excess. I want to send them into reincarnation as soon as possible. So tonight's ritual. It's not about me. It's about degree. Do them one by one. That means doing 4 rituals. Don't say that Zhao Wenbin's physical strength is unbearable. It's too late for time. Once dawn, there are still people who have not been sent away. That's when something big happens. Zhao Wenbin is ruthless. Done it together. I'm going to make him bold tonight. Zhao Wenbin told everyone that they were not allowed to enter. Everyone was standing outside the door. He commanded in the old after. When he appeared in front of everyone again, he was already dressed in a robe of gold and silver thread. The gossip diagram behind the robe. It glows faintly under the illumination of the light. Director Zhao wants to pass a shadow, helping to carry the 7-star sword. Walked through the door with trepidation, glanced at the golden staff that was shrinking in the crowd. Respectfully the sword on the ground. Step aside. A helper's look. For tables were already standing in front of the 4 coffins. For long cotton lamps lit the flames. The coffin of the fingers reflected in red became brighter and brighter. In the center of the floor is a large wash basin. Zhao Wenbin took a deep breath. Spread out the black paper. Lose 2 heavenly master talismans in a hurry. Take out the big seal. After pressing it, it was thrown to Director Zhao. Let him stick it to the wall on the inside of the gate. 1 on each side. This town is no one else. It was the lords who were lying in the coffin. People who are anti-shake feng shui know it. The orientation of the gate is important. During the Spring Festival, we all put New Year's pictures on the gates. What about this year's painting? Now most of them are blessing characters. But in the past, it's more about the 2 door gods. One is called the Book of God. One is called Jade Rule. There are also love letter treasures and jade pawn palaces. Each door god has its own origin. It is used to ward off evil spirits and ghosts. Keep your home safe. Help. The downgrade is quite. Naturally, the door god is not just something you pasted on. It is inseparable from feng shui design. The gate was under construction. Be sure to divide into 4 doors and 4 chest doors. According to the 5 elements of gossip, to decipher the direction of the gate, it can be roughly divided into the following types. The family house facing east and west is a townhouse. The door is open to life. Extend the year, and the day is a support. That is, the west, southeast, north, and east. The others are the 4 brothers. The house that sits southeast to northwest is the Sun house. The door is open to life. Extend the year, and the day is a support. And the north, east, south, and southeast directions. The others are the 4 brothers. The family house from the left south to the north is the Li house. The door is open to life. Longevity of the day, blessings. In the east, north, southeast, and south of the 4 directions. The other quartet are brothers. The house from the southwest to the northeast on the left is the Kuan house. Longevity of the day, blessings. That is, the northeast, northwest, west, southwest, and 4 seals. The other 4 are murderous doors. The house facing west to east is the village. The door is opened, and there are 4 seals in the northwest, northeast, southwest, and west. The other 4 are murderous doors. The house that sits northwest to southeast is the front house. The door is opened, and there are 4 seals in the southwest, southwest, northeast, and northwest. The other 4 are murderous doors. The house that sits north to south is a Kan house. The gate is open in 4 directions, south, southeast, east, and north. The others are the quartet brothers. The house that sits in the northeast to the southwest is a Moor house. The gate opens to the southwest, west, northwest, and northeast. The other quartet are brothers. If the 2 families build a gate together, the whole house should be taken as a whole. Let's take a look at the auspicious side in the brothers' room. Rebuild the gates. If they build their own doors, it should all be built on the pole. But beware. The selected gate position cannot be directly opposed. Otherwise, it is easy to incur discord between brothers and neighbors. A lot of right and wrong. The 4 poles are angry. In-year. Heavenly clothes. Comfort. The degree of pull changes from large to small. The 4 poles are desperate. Ogos. 6 evils. Scourge. The degree of ferocity ranges from large to small. The house sits differently. The hanging phase is also different. The direction of the good and the bad has changed. What about this throne country? It was originally a house facing north and south. This is the case for most of the countryside. Because the sun is good. Probably because of the yard. There was a crooked date tree standing in the way of the eagle. When I opened the door, I picked a southwest position. Zaven being at the first time he entered the door. And he saw it. The door is open in the direction of nothing else. It is the big murderer among the 4 brothers. Desperate. The gate is so dangerous. So, even if everyone escaped this catastrophe, it's hard to guarantee that nothing will happen in the future. This kind of gate inside. There were 4 dead corpses lying in vain. It's hard to think about it. Those 2 celestial master talismans. It is to add 2 gods to the gate. In order to block the evil chief from the outside from entering, let the Lord within be at peace for a while. Zhao Wenbin asked the village chief to prepare leeks at night. Everyone ate and drank in the courtyard. Stay until dawn. The purpose is to use popularity to suppress the sky-high murderer. After getting it done, Zhao Wenbin beckoned to Curator Jean, who was sitting in a daze. Motioned for him to come over. Curator Jean stepped through the door with a hard head. Zhao Wenbin handed over 3 boxes. Let him give 4 coffins. 1 stick of incense per person. Say hello. Be sincere. How dare Director Jean not listen? There were 12 kowtows. Trying so hard to see his own relatives lying inside. And knelt before the church. Burned some yellow paper. This gold curator is the second one to incense today. Zhao Wenbin's purpose is clear. Tell the Lord within. This man has come today to fulfill his filial piety. Second only to their son. Don't bother him. After getting it done, Curator Kim stepped back again. Zhao Wenbin was about to call the others to come in and offer incense. Director Zhao shouted. Oh no, it's on fire. Zhao Wenbin was shocked. Look back. It turned out to be the part of the yellow paper that had not yet been burned. Floated up with the heat. Encounter the one in the middle of the 4 coffins. It was originally a coffin with a paper head. Burned the tassels that hung on. Zaven rushed forward with an arrow. Pounced a few times. It's finally extinguished. Zhang Jun didn't breathe a sigh of relief. All I heard was a clang. 2 candles in front of the coffin on the side. Fall to the ground at the same time. What about the people out there? It's real. This scene happened in the countryside where Curator Jian went to the countryside. The moment it was pushed out. Time. Everyone's eyes were all focused on him. Curator Kim saw it himself. He's here at the moment. I can't wait to get away from this hellish place right now. Look at the whole village. He can't move. He could only look at Zhao Wenbin, who was contemplative inside. Zhao Wenbin frowned. More seizures. It's not even 12 o'clock. I had to go up and pick up the candle, rekindle it. Looking outside, everyone is looking inside. Explain to everyone. It could be blown by the wind. Don't make a fuss. To say that he is an honest man, and really don't lie. The village chief outside immediately replied. There's no wind outside. This sentence immediately exploded. Someone turned around and was about to leave the yard. No one wants to spend half a minute here. Seeing that many people are about to go out, and the soldiers prepared to go out and stop them, just a few steps out of the gate, Director Zhao inside ran out, while shouting. Oh no, Wenbin. Take a look, the 4 sticks of incense. All gone. The returning Zaman soldier didn't have time to look at it, bumped into Director Zhao at once. Those who were about to leave looked back. A third of the incense sticks were burned, all extinguished. There wasn't a single trace of smoke drifting. I don't know who shouted. Haunted. I watched everyone squeeze out of the courtyard gate. On this occasion, someone roars and there is a ghost. That effect was absolutely terrifying. Suddenly, everyone felt that it was dark in front of them. There was a power outage. The eyes of those who had already run out suddenly went dark. I don't dare to go any further. You can only stand still. The whole scene was thrown into chaos.